At iDream Space we're in Los Angeles.
Yes,
For
City of Industry in particular.
The City of Industry, Facebook Live in here to understand from James, how do you market your products into the China market? Some concrete understanding of what to do for a company that may not have a huge budget or brand recognition. James, thanks for joining us.
Hi, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Where are you from?
I'm actually born originally in Taiwan, China, and I came here when I was 12 and grew up here ever since.
Okay. We're going to do another series someday about your life as a young Chinese boy in LA. But what is your company?
Cybertegic. Yes.
Cybertegic.
We're a digital marketing agency here in Southern California, and we specialize in servicing businesses, whether they want to sell to China or whether China business want to sell into the U.S.
Okay, and we were talking about how do you market your products into China? Maybe you could tell us a little bit.
Okay. Well, the Chinese market, if I may elaborate a little bit more, since 2014, the China's overall e-commerce revenue has surpassed the U.S. e-commerce revenue, and it's growing much, much faster than us. So there's a big pie in China everybody's eyeing. So a lot of my clients will ask me, how do you sell into China? China is a very interesting and dynamic place. Okay? If you classify it into major category, you got your social media. Just like we have Facebook here, China had their social media. WeChat, for one, is a very powerful mechanism, social media channel that all merchants should be paying attention to. Okay, you can now advertise in WeChat, and you can geo-target particular area in China, particular city that you want to sell into. So if you're going to sell in China, WeChat is one that you have to look out for.
Okay,
For sure.
and you're saying you cannot pay advertise on WeChat?
You actually could do that now.
You can, okay.
Yeah, they started to open that up for small businesses.
Okay, and but you need an official. Just to dive into WeChat for a second, you need an official company in China to be able to have a WeChat business account, correct?
Well, yes and no. Yeah, usually you should have an official entity, but there is a way around it that you can piggyback on a third-party company with very little cost, maybe $100 or $200, and then you can use their account to conduct advertising. But then again, the advertising is it allows you to geo-target. So if you have a smaller budget, you can really just focus on certain area in China that you want to advertise to.
Okay, so just to repeat, so you can pay a company, a third party, say, hey, you've got a company in China, I'll pay you $100, $200 a month, and you run our WeChat account, rebrand it with our brand and name, and then geolocalize.
There you go. And then you give them the advertising spending. They will execute the advertisement for you in China and then guide people to your website or your online store.
Okay. And what are some of the key things you can do to build your brand, or some of the things that you've seen successfully?
Well, as we're here in the U.S. with Facebook, branding is about making people feel good about your brand. Okay, it's not about hard selling right in the beginning. So, but branding does take time. If you want to build a brand, honestly, you gotta post a lot of good content, not necessarily just selling content, but things that make people feel who you are. What do you represent? Are you a kind-hearted business? What do you care? Your mission and things like that. Let's just look at Nike, for example. Whenever we think of Nike, we think of just do it. We think of sports, power, confidence. That's what branding is about. So if a business want to brand into China, I will say you have to understand the local culture. It's best to hire an agency there that understand the local culture and brand your image accordingly to the Chinese people.
Are there any things you've seen that either have worked exceptionally well or have really not worked well, especially for small and mid-sized companies?
Okay. So for small and mid-sized, because there's definitely a budget concern, and allow me to kind of explain the different channels. So we talked about social media, WeChat being one channel. There is the search engine, Baidu, being another channel. Okay, and then definitely there's the shopping comparison site, where now you're talking about Taobao and Jingdong as a place to sell your goods in. If you don't have that much budget, Baidu might not be an ideal place to start up with. You might want to use WeChat, more of a social media meme. However, keep in mind, social media, a lot of time, it's about just branding. So you're not going to see conversion that fast. The best way, if you have limited budget, you want to focus on Jingdong and Taobao. to see if you can feature your product on there right away to sell. Yeah.
Now, a couple of interesting questions. We get a lot of companies who say, "Oh, I just had a meeting with JD, Jingdong, or Jingdong Worldwide, or I had a meeting with Tmall, or that's Tmall Classic or Tmall Global," and they say that I should start listing on their site. And I'm always concerned because the amount of money you need to spend in marketing to get any traction is huge, right? What's an estimate for a brand? Let's do the first one, for a brand that's unknown in China.
Yeah.
That starts to list on, let's say, a Tmall Global, which is the cross-border direct model. How much budget are we talking to build a brand?
Well, if you're talking about building a brand, brand's gonna be costly. But if you're competing by price or just you have very unique product that you don't need to compete with anybody, it's brand by itself, you can start with very little. But I would still say for small businesses, you are advertising to another country, minimum of at least $1,000 in US budgets per month, to get your into the door. And then if the ROI, you have to track your return. If the advertising spending you're spending, you're seeing good returns coming back, then of course you can加码and you can add more advertising budget.
加码 should add more, for your Chinese learners out there. But at the same time, what are some of these products that aren't about their brand, but just the product themselves are really hot right now?
Well, in terms of really hot product, I think a lot of electronic gadgets pretty good. Cosmetic, I'll put it this way. I heard a story. There was a farmer in the US was selling this kind of special fruit into China, and he was making a killing because it was so unique, and Chinese people trust American products. They know it's healthy, it means quality assured, and he was selling through, I believe it was Jingdong, and he was doing really well on it. So if your product's unique, you could do a quick search on Jingdong and Tmall and see if somebody's selling it. If not, maybe you have a market already.
Sure, we say sometimes if you put it in or on your body, if it requires quality assurance, transparency, it's probably got a good opportunity in China.
Yes, that's exactly correct. And one thing I want to mention about the culture is that the Chinese people trust American product because we have such a rigorous process of quality control our stuff here. God knows how many lawsuits is going on here in the US. If you don't control your quality, you get a lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's why the Chinese people in China also knows about this. That's why they know sometimes the product is produced in China and just shipped to US, but they still rather buy from US because they know they went through the test, the QC process. So when they get it back, it's safe.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Let's talk a little bit about if you're selling into China, you do direct cross-border versus, there's a question of direct cross-border means people have to wait a little longer for the product. Are people willing to wait? I know JD does like hour-and-a-half shipping now in China. Is there a patience for that?
I think it still is, but that patience will grow shorter and shorter. If you look at what Amazon's doing right now in the US market, long time ago, before Amazon's 2 days shipping, we're okay. You take a week to ship to us, we're fine. Now we're not.
Yeah, right.
Now I'll just buy from Amazon. Why would I wait from you?
Yeah.
The same thing's gonna happen in China. Granted, people know it's gonna take a longer time to ship directly from the US, but I do foresee in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years, the global warehouse is going to be in China. A lot of goods, just like Amazon fulfillment center, is going to be shipped into that fulfillment center. And the patience for waiting for product will shrink.
So you're saying also, so Amazon will enter, I understand, FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, into China?
Yeah, Amazon already have a couple of warehouses in China, and they have global plans. They're going everywhere. And one of the signature move is 2-day shipping, maybe even 1-day shipping.
But JD can, these guys can compete on that already in China, so it's a less of a value proposition in China. What can you tell me a few of the marketplaces? Tell us at home obviously everyone knows Jingdong, Tmall,
right? Taobao, right? Alibaba, all those famous places. I think if you are selling, just concentrate on those big ones. I know there's a lot of other ones like Rakuten and the other also eyeing Chinese market and things like that. But the amount of energy that you're going to be spending in selling in the marketplace, just focus on the top 3.
So is there a benefit though to go to like a Xiu.com or a or one of these smaller kind of niches that are really focused on your product vertical?
Yes, that's a good question. if that marketplace specialize in your area, yes, then that go into that.
Okay.
But if they're generalizing or selling all type of stuff, then just focus on the top three.
Okay. Now I noticed when you talked social, you did not mention Weibo.
Yeah.
Where's Weibo at right now?
Well, it's not as popular as before. People still use it. But again, if you're a small and mid-sized business, I would say focus your limited energy on WeChat. Okay, I have this feeling. I think 80% of the Chinese internet users are using WeChat.
Yeah.
Everyone I ask, no one says no. I don't know WeChat. Most of them has WeChat.
Yeah, but you have a phone, you pretty much have WeChat.
Right,
It's
right,
more-
WeChat,
The questions I guess I have around that are, Weibo basically gave way to advertisers, right, and then just became inundated. One of the things I talk about is WeChat, in a way, it kind of reinforces the Chinese culture of I trust my friends first, and if my friends tell me to buy something in my closed group, you do it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's why you will see the advertisements actually showing up within the 朋友圈, the friends group, But then it will specify it is an ad very clearly, because so not to mislead people thinking this is from one of their friends. Okay. But we're beginning to see that a lot more. They're opening up a lot more advertising opportunities to the merchant, but they're doing it very carefully. They're protecting their customers.
Now, affiliate marketing, let's say, or affiliate sales, things like that, we see that a lot on WeChat. My understanding, and you can talk a little about that, my understanding is you can have up to like 100, individually, up to 100 friends
Yes.
in a group.
Yes.
So therefore you can have more than 100 friends, obviously, but which I have more than 100 friends on WeChat. If you have more than 100 friends, you can have 100 friends in a group, and therefore you could actually create a group around like Tupperware, your Tupperware parties.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And good that you brought on this topic, because influencer marketing is going to be, it's already very popular in China. And that's one of the channels that we didn't really talk about. Social media is, if you have limited budget, a small and mid-sized business, you don't have a brand yet, but you happen to found second tier or third tier influencer. I'm not talking about the top tier. The top tier is going to cost you at least 100,000 or more. They're like a celebrity status. You can, small business can't afford them. But if the second tier and third tier, and they're just climbing up, you could get them to do a zibo like this for 2 hours for maybe $500. And as they rise in rank, maybe their brand recognition will pass over to your brand recognition.
Now, I am not getting $500 for this.
Oh.
So I'm going to start building an audience in China.
Agent.
Yeah, I'll talk to my agent. But that's true. I mean, people say that you don't actually get anymore this influencer that's an influencer that just wants to do it to be good. Yeah. It's all, they've got a price sheet, they've got an agent, it's all worked out now, right?
Yeah, there's actually marketplace for third tier and second tier, but it's such a wild west right now. There's still opportunity. Okay. Once it become mature, then they're gonna say, yeah, it's $2,000 or $5,000 for doing this. There's definitely opportunity using influencer to do branding.
But my understanding also is that it's there. I was speaking to a company, 100% Pure, for example. I don't know if you know them. They sell cosmetics out of the U.S. into China, and they were saying, look, we don't look for an influencer necessarily based on the number of views they're getting. It's, are they aligned with our brand? Do they understand it? And is their audience also aligned with our products?
This is typical of how you have to execute influencer marketing is, yes, don't look at that number. The number might just be the first criteria to tell you how popular they are. Immediately the second factor to look into is, what industry did you specialize in? So, if today you and I to go sell fashion product, I don't think we'll be very successful. Maybe you will, because you're good looking. I will.
You're very handsome. You have much better skin too.
I think I'll destroy that brand. But today my industry is digital marketing, and some business wanted me to represent digital marketing. I think I can do pretty well. So you do have to find influencer who has expertise in that industry.
And it's not something, I presume, just to speak to our small and medium companies, as much as I want to say, you can go find the local Chinese university student in LA and UCLA, and they'll help you get on WeChat. Can you do that still, or you have to go with an agency?
My recommendation, not that because I'm an
biased.
agency,
right.
but normally when you hire a college student, what will happen is they will learn on your dime. You pay them salary, and they will learn, but that's the learning expenses. The agency, you don't pay them to learn, you pay them to execute and generate results. So, but of course, price is different, and then you have to watch within your price level. If you're gonna hire a college student, are you willing to hire him for about a year? or two, so he mastered the skill and then he can execute.
Which then he'll go get another job somewhere else.
That's, yeah.
Probably for you.
Usually that happens.
Okay. You know, James, we have a lot of other things I'm sure we could talk about. Okay. Feel free to comment below on any questions you have, and we're going to ask James to stay engaged so he can answer those. But we have questions for James now that is part of our Getting to Global Fun quiz that I've warned James about only mildly. We're going to start with some questions about some slang terms, okay? I'm going to say a slang term in the local language.
Okay.
You're going to, if you could tell me what it means, great. If not, I'll give you the literal translation in English. And then you tell me based on that what it might be. So we're going to start with jalarse una torta.
And
that's in Spanish, right? Jalarse una torta.
Sounds like you're mad at somebody about to spit at
Which is a lot of, it depends how you have Latino passion. It actually literally means to pull a cake.
To pull a cake, okay.
What does that mean?
To pull a cake. Could it be just to pull a fast one on somebody?
To pull a fast one might. It is to pull a cake would mean to screw something up. And for those of you watching at home, yeah, to screw something up. Okay. But that's fine. That's fine.
Definitely
that's out of
my Hispanic.
That's out of Costa Rica. So I'm going to give you one that you may know a little bit, right? Yeah. Let's see if we've got. Shengnu.
Shengnu.
Okay. Shengnu.
Very sensitive topic in China.
Yeah. What is it? Okay, so the translation technically would be what, leftover girls.
Okay.
And what would be? We have here. Well, what you can explain it.
Well, certainly, unfortunately, in China, people have this mindset that a woman should marry early, maybe in their 24th and 25th. But if they pass a certain age and they're still not married, they are called the Shengnu, which is leftover woman, which I strongly against that, because I think you should not be married based on how old you are and you need to get married, but rather whether you find the right person.
Sure. Okay, we're gonna move to some interesting questions, because if you have any other Chinese slang that you can depart on to us.
Yeah, when I first doing advertising, and when I was in China, and people go there visit, and they would say, "Yeah, 你很牛逼." They say, "You're 牛逼." 牛逼. I'm like, well, what is 牛逼? 牛逼 to me means like cow, bee. Okay, cow bee. What does cow bee?
Cow bee, the beads about the biba.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's actually
like a cow nose.
Something like that, right? Okay. And I'm Chinese, and I didn't understand. And I asked him, "Why do you call me 牛逼?" That means 牛逼 means you're really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because a cow's nose is very good, is it literally a cow's nose?
牛逼. No, it's not.
It's
just the 发音, the way it's pronounced.
Okay.
It's 牛逼 means.
牛逼
很棒 You're good.
你很棒啊
Yeah, 你很牛逼
牛逼
Yeah.
我们还是没看一看 Okay, 我们看看 Okay, now I'm going to ask you quick questions. Okay, what is the last thing you bought online?
Oh, too many things. Okay, well, the last thing, I bought the Ring, which is a doorbell that you can see from the internet whoever came to your door without being at home.
Okay, are you generally a paranoid type of person, or you feel like you just want to know who's coming before you're...
Not paranoid. I think I'm a tech geek, so anything new, I just buy and put it on.
Is that the only place in your house that you have a camera?
A couple of other places too.
Okay, next question. If you could hire a superhero for the companies you represent in the U.S., what superpowers should they have?
I think I will hire Iron Man, and well, Iron Man can literally, it's good for defense, good for delivering goods. You can fly pretty fast to anywhere, and everybody loves Iron Man. It's a good brand.
Okay, good, and you can deliver products quickly. Last question for you, James. You can be friends with only one group of people based on the car they drive.
Okay.
What group of people would those be? What car would that be?
It would be Tesla.
Tesla. You'd be friends with Tesla drivers?
Yes. I grew up as a programmer and computer geek, and Tesla.
And you like Tesla? Tesla drivers in general, they're environmentally conscious, but they're also wealthy, so those are good friends to have.
Oh, yeah. And they are all geeks too.
They are geeks, yeah. Are you any car that any group of people based on a car that you would not like to be friends with if you had to eliminate a group of people from your friend group?
Wow, that's a good question. Never thought of that. No, I'm usually a very people person, so I wouldn't judge on cars.
You wouldn't judge a car. It's very deep. James, thanks for joining Getting to Global, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.